I'm Brad Wolf with Organo-Lawn, and today we're going to do a video on how to protect the external parts of your sprinkler system in case of a sudden freeze. There are 4 main steps on how to protect your sprinkler system, and this should take no longer than 5 or 6 minutes. Step 1, you need to turn off the water to the sprinkler system. Step 2, go outside to the vacuum breaker and open the test cocks and set the ball valves to a 45-degree angle. Step 3, open the valve box drain or open a valve. Step 4, go downstairs and open the drain nipple to drain the water from the basement pipe. So now we're going to head downstairs to do step 1 of the process. The first thing we need to do to drain the basement pipe is we have to find where the water shutoff is to the sprinkler system. And it is typically in the basement or the crawl space. But if you're not sure, the best way to figure out where the shutoff is first find the backflow preventer or vacuum breaker and trace the pipes backwards. And then it is typically either a gate valve or this case is a ball valve. To shut off a ball valve, you would turn it perpendicular to the pipe. A good hint to help figure out which valve is the proper shut-off valve for the sprinkler system is to actually look for a drain nipple or a drain valve in between the shut-off valve and the backflow preventer. I'm going to show you quickly the inner workings of the ball valve so you understand how it works. So it is currently perpendicular, which is closed. And then as I turn it parallel, it opens, and you can see there's a ball inside of it that opens and closes. And here is the inner workings of a gate valve. And as you can see, as I turn the valve clockwise, the gate comes down and closes. And as I turn it counterclockwise, the gate comes up and opens. It is very important, especially as these get older, they might get some hard water deposits on the valve itself. So it's important when you close it, you really have to crank very hard on it to make sure it's 100% closed. Now that the water has been turned off, we're going to go outside and we're going to open a petcock valve. And in doing that, that allows air into the system, which will release it, and we can then therefore drain this little valve. Now that we've turned off the water in the basement, we head outside and we need to find this little apparatus here. This is called the backflow preventer or the vacuum breaker. I'm just going to quickly familiarize you with all the little moving parts of this apparatus here. These here are called a ball valve. So currently they are open because they're parallel with the pipe, and that would be closed. These guys right here are called test cocks or petcocks. They are basically mini ball valves and they are currently closed. If you decide to drain the basement pipe before we blow out the sprinkler system, you will find your backflow preventer in this state with the ball valves currently open. All you need to do is come out here and open up one of these test cocks. Some water will come out and you'll see that it stops. And what that does is open airflow into the pipe. It is very important that if you find that this ball valve is closed at a 90-degree angle, when you come out to open one of these test cocks, that you do remember to open this to a 45-degree angle or at least parallel, and that will allow air into the pipe. If your test cocks have plastic caps on the end of them, these actually don't really do anything, and you do need to remove them to get airflow into the system. Not every system has an external drain, but this one does, and if it does have an external drain, we do recommend leaving this open for the winter. We do recommend leaving the test cocks open for the winter, and the reason being is if someone accidentally turns on the water to the sprinkler system, or if the valve doesn't shut properly and a little drip of water goes by every 10 minutes, it will eventually fill this pipe with water, and instead of going into the sprinkler system causing more damage, it will just come out of the test cock, and the only part of the sprinkler system that could have potential breakage would be this portion right here versus the entire system. In case of a sudden freeze, if you've drained the basement pipe, what we've done is we've gotten the water from here down into the house out of the pipe, but we also need to get the rest of the water in the sprinkler system out, which is from the vacuum breaker forward. And to do that, what you need to do is make sure the petcock is cracked open, and then you go find a valve box, and when you can find a valve box, there should be a drain in here, and we'll open that drain to drain that water out. If you open a valve box, typically what you will find at the end of the valves is a valve drain, which is this guy right here. And if you open this, water should start to come out of the valve drain. If you cannot find your valve box, or your valve box does not have a drain like this, you can also open a valve manually, and this will allow airflow into the system. Or if you don't want to open a valve manually, you can also just run your clock on a manual cycle, and that will open the valves via the clock. Now that we've set our ball valves to a 45-degree angle and we've opened our test cocks to allow airflow into the pipe, we are going to head downstairs to drain the rest of the water out of the pipe. Now we're back down in the basement, and our final step is that we need to drain the drain nipple. And that is typically right next to the valve or in between the valve and the backflow preventer. And all I'm going to do is take my bucket and I'm going to open up the drain nipple. And as you can see, water is going to come out. And I'm just going to hang here until all the water is drained. If it's a really long pipe, that might take a few minutes. If it's a short pipe like this one, it goes pretty quick. And now that the drain nipple is done draining, all I need to do is tighten the drain nipple, and that's the end of draining the basement pipe. If you follow the steps that we've listed out in this video, you should be able to protect your backflow preventer and the pipes that are outside in case of a sudden freeze. To watch more videos on sprinkler systems or how to properly water a lawn, please visit Organo-Lawn.com.